So anyway, there was this naked guy. I mean, this guy loved to be naked. He worked naked. He played naked. He loved the freedom. He loved his birthday suit. I mean, imagine a world where we didn't have to wear clothes ever again. So this guy goes to sleep one night and he wakes up the next day and he's like, my side is killing me. In fact, I may be missing a rib. And all of a sudden he looks over there and all these trees are moving and there's this commotion going on. So he walks over there to see what's going on, and all of a sudden the unexpected happened. Another naked person jumps out of the trees. This guy was like, she looks so much better than me. In case you haven't guessed it yet, this is my version of the story of Adam and Eve. This is what I think is incredible about this story. The Bible says that Adam and Eve were both naked and they felt no shame. Innocence, purity. It also says that their relationship with their Creator was open and honest. They walked in the garden with God. We're not really sure how long this innocent nakedness lasted. What we do know is that when they disobeyed God, do you know the first thing that they did? They hid themselves. They covered up their shame. Innocence was lost. Purity was abandoned. And Adam and Eve's world that was green quickly turned black. So why am I telling you a story about two naked people? Well, here's the deal. Ever since God put us in the Garden of Eden, His intention for us was to have that relationship last forever. It was supposed to be continual, it was supposed to be sustaining, and it was supposed to be satisfying. Well, here's the thing. When Adam and Eve chose to eat of that fruit because they thought that that fruit was going to offer more satisfaction than what God had, they introduced sin into the world. Since that time, all of us have been struggling with what it takes to make us happy. I have 3 kids with one on the way, and I have never once had to teach any of my kids how to cry or how to moan or how to complain since they were babies. Why? Because we all come into this world selfish to the core. We want what we want. Have you ever thought about what it is that really satisfies you? God was so disappointed with us that all we wanted was what we wanted. You know what He did? He destroyed the entire earth with a flood, except for Noah and his family. After the flood, the earth repopulated, people started living on the earth again, and guess what? We were still bent on doing what we wanted to do. That's the whole point of Jesus, is that instead of destroying the earth again, God decided to send His only Son, Jesus, to help us want what He wants. When God sent Jesus to the earth, the whole point was for Him to rescue us from ourselves. Do you know what that means? That means that we can be reconnected to God, we can have innocence, we can be free, we can live naked. Not literally, but with our soul, with our spirit, with who we really are. I mean, we can go to God at any time and He reconnects us to Himself. In fact, this is why I'm standing in this peaceful, calm vineyard. Listen to what Jesus says in John chapter 15. I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, He prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. You are already clean because of the word I have spoken to you. Remain in me, and I will remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. If a man remains in me, and I in him, he will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. Jesus said that without Him, we can do nothing. Nada. Zilch. Not nothing in the way like you can't eat or sleep or drink or play or whatever. What He means is when He says nothing, nothing of eternal significance. Nothing we do will last forever. You see, as a branch, if you're not connected to the vine, the only option you have is to wither up, burn out, and die. This reality changed the way I look at my life. I mean, if my job as a branch is to stay connected to the vine, that's it. That should be my effort. That should be what I'm about. The picture that Jesus paints for us is the picture of green. He paints for us the picture of a vineyard. We are reminded almost every single day to go green. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Those things are all good, and I'm all for taking care of the environment. But what do you think Jesus' idea of green actually is? If Jesus is the vine and we're the branch, then his goal for us is to stay connected to him. In other words, we need to receive, rejoice, and release fruit into the world for it to enjoy. This is a process that Jesus calls abiding or remaining in him. As a branch, we don't have another source that can satisfy us. In fact, when we choose to sin, what we're saying is that something else has the ability to satisfy us more than our relationship with Christ. Before I get into the meaning and significance of John 15 and what it means to be green, what do you think about when you think of green? All right, maybe when you think of green, you think of paint. I think of green paint, and you may not know this about me, but I'm a little bit of a painter, and I'd like to show you how this is done. The first thing to keep in mind when painting is you've got to keep in mind the perspectives. Basically what you want to do is you want to draw in such a way that brings out the perspective of the life that you're trying to capture. The second thing to keep in mind is texture. See, right now I'm painting on this canvas, but you may be painting on a graffiti wall in your own backyard, your bedroom, maybe a sibling. But the main thing to keep in mind is that texture matters. The third thing to keep in mind when painting is angles, especially with the color green. We all know that green is the most difficult color to paint with. So you have to decide, is this a side angle? Is it straight on? But if you're good like me, you can paint both angles at the same time. The fourth thing to keep in mind is the horizon. You see, if you look too far, you miss it. If you look too close, you miss it. But if you're like me, you never miss it. Now that we've covered everything and all things that pertain to the basics of art theory as it relates to the color green, I would like to reveal to you a piece of artwork. It's a leprechaun. Everybody see the leprechaun? Say yeah! Okay, so maybe that's not what you were thinking about when you thought about green. But if we're honest, I think we're so much like Adam and Eve. God has given us this healthy green environment for us to grow and get to know him. And so often for me, I clog that with sin, with distractions, and I stop the process that Jesus starts in my life. It's kind of like a flower that jumps around from vase to vase to vase. You see, a flower that's cut from its source can only last for so long without water. And so what it does is it puts itself in a vase, draws satisfaction from that vase, and then has to move on until the water's gone. Maybe that's like you. The temporary satisfactions that we have don't last for very long. Maybe for you it's, I don't know, money or possessions or sex or a boyfriend or a girlfriend, just something that you know isn't going to last a long time. With Jesus, it's totally different. His satisfaction, his source is meant to last for as long as eternity is, which is forever. If you're going to be a follower of Jesus and be effective, you have to stay connected to your source because you're going to be expected to give and give and give. And if you're not careful, the source that you're drawing from, if it's not Jesus, is going to dry up and you'll burn out. For me, personally, I know when I stop the flow of Jesus in my life, it's when I exchange love for hate, patience for impatience, contentment with strife, humility for pride, forgiveness for revenge. I'll never forget this one time I was riding my scooter down the street and this car flies past me about an inch from my handlebar. I got so mad, I followed these people to their house. Just before they get out of their car, I yell at them, "Man, you guys about killed me!" All of a sudden, this huge guy gets out of the car and he looks at me and he says, "Man, anybody kill you." I weighed my options. You know what I did? I yelled back at them, "Be more careful next time!" I I should have just forgiven them, but instead I tried to handle the problem by myself. You see, the thing is everything that we need as a branch is already in the vine. Love, joy, peace, patience, goodness, faithfulness, all of that exists in the vine. So for me to try to find something else, I'm not going to find it. Life with Jesus is moment by moment. So many times we get in such a hurry, we try to figure stuff out on our own, and Jesus is like, will you just receive from me? I have what you need. Moment by moment. How do you do this? Well, what I do is I read His Word, I pray, I talk to friends that I trust and believe in, that I know are receiving from Jesus. I just make sure that I'm paused and I'm receiving, because that's what green means. Green means receive. Green is healthy. Are you connected? Are you receiving? Are you green?